Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about exploded views. This is a little button right here called exploded view. So with exploded views, what this does is it sets you ready for assembly drawings, which we'll get into in a little bit. But for exploded views, what it does is it drags different parts away, and then typically you have different steps. So you may drag a part in a few steps and another part in a few more steps. And typically, how I like to do this is I'll drag it. I'll have like one main part that's fixed, and I try not to drag that one unless it just makes it easier. But typically, I'll try to keep my fixed part fixed and then just drag the other parts. So there's like different techniques of selecting. You could select from upper left down to right, or you could also let me just clear this. You could also drag from bottom to the top. So bottom to the top will select anything that's in scope, and then top down will select only the parts that's inside. So let's say I want to move the motors back along with the screws. I can select everything and then deselect the plate. Then this will allow me to drag everything. Okay. And typically the amount I drag really depends on I usually like to go to the isometric view to see how much I'm dragging, and then I'll typically drag enough so that I see some spacing. So notice that if I drag about this much, right, you see a little bit of gap here. So that's usually what I shoot for. And that's personally just me. I like to have things space out pretty nicely. And you're not limited to dragging like only this direction. You can also drag it the other way as well. So here, I just exited my exploded view, but let me just repeat this, right? So I select everything and then I deselect this and then I drag it out about this much to have the space and I hit OK. Then you can see that my exploded view has been done. And if I right click here, I should be able to see my view. You can say explode. Okay, so that should give you your exploded view. Inside, you can see there's the exploded view here. Let me just delete one of them. So this is how you go to your exploded view, and you could edit the feature if you're not done. So if you want to add another step, you could just start selecting again. So here I want everything except the motor. So notice I could drag this way too. And let's say that wasn't a step you want, you could delete it. Okay. So I'm going to select this again, everything but the motor, and just drag back. So this is how you would do assembly, exploded view for the assembly. And then there's also this thing called the exploded line sketch. So what that does is it shows you, especially for circular components, you want to see how it lines up. You could connect the two things and it'll line up. And notice this arrow is pointing in the other direction. That's why you get this like funny looking like zigzag going on. So to fix that, you could change the direction of that arrow. And now you notice you have a nice straight line. Okay. So you could do that for your other things. So you can only do one at a time actually. So I'm gonna delete this, delete this as well. So you have one line. And then once you click OK, you could choose this other one. I'm gonna flip it and then do this line and hit OK. And then just repeat that for this one as well. And this last one here. Okay. So that's how you have your exploded view lines. And this is great because it helps you visualize to see how everything comes together. Okay, so we could come back here. Let me just exit the sketch. But if you come back here and you try to edit your feature, notice you could come back to modify your steps. You could maybe specify an exact distance you want, maybe 7. And then here you could say like 7. So you could be very exact with your spacing. And you can also come in here and say like, let's say you wanted to animate the collapse to see how it collapses. You could animate, and you can see the parts coming together. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And you can also come in here and then hit explode, and that will explode it back out again. Okay, so that's how you do exploded views in assemblies. And then when we get into assembly drawings, we'll see how some of this comes into play. And we'll talk about that in the next few videos. So if you found this video helpful, give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.